Communications Bonusode.
Dun, 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 dun,
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, angels and demons, monsters and serpents, to Brothers of the Serpent podcast, coming to you not live, and live to the Discord from the 10x10x10 Tangent Cube of Science, nestled amongst the dusty bones of an ancient seabed high atop the Everest Plateau. And you just heard a little cameo there from Kyle's son, Soul, giving us his intro music, helping the mom out with the intros. So this is a special bonusode. We're basically doing this. We're recording this one the very next day after the normal recording day, and we're doing this because we've had so many guests and so many major topics on the show that we haven't really had a chance to do any listener communications and news stories and all the stuff we usually put in the first segments in over a month. So that's basically the point of this show, is to get it's going to be news and listener communications and just chilling out and having fun. And we are broadcasting this one live to the Discord chat. So for those of you listening on later on YouTube or whatever, join the Discord if you really want to be serious about this, because that's where it's all happening. And
and without further ado, we have a one-up box.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's from History Shift. And here. There's the note.
Oh yeah, Brothers of the Serpent, Snakes. Hello again there. I love my one-up boxes, and have even sent 2 to members of the Snake Force now as well. Incredibly fun, value for value model. This one-up has been 6 months in the making, thanks to our virus friend from overseas. I ordered these for you guys back in March. So I get to introduce you to your new Shamir alien contactor, Firestarter, or just annoy your neighbor tools, and so much more. I have one and I love it. Should be great for contact at the cabin. Next, and I figured you need these, are 2 Bigfoot air fresheners. So he knows just who to 411. Hey man, I already have one of these. These are great.
You need a new one.
I know, because mine ran out of fresh. That Sam Squanch freshness is gone. And he says, just in case that's not enough to bring the big guy down to you, try out the calls in the woods like I did. Anyways, I saw those and went, yep, those are going to Russ and Kyle.
Dude, Soul is totally getting this.
Anyway. That's the Bigfoot call box. Anyways, this is the best one-up box ever. So, a little gift from me to you. Keep up the great work, and I'll see you in a few weeks. Snakes! Wow.
What are these?
What is this? This is like the... Oh, these. He said these are the Shamirs? Are these lightsabers, bro?
Are these freaking lasers, dude? These are serious.
Oh, man.
They
are
are.
these lasers?
And there's like a battery charger in here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And these serious rechargeable batteries. Dude.
Let me see if I can...
This is what you take Bigfoot down with?
Yeah.
Here. This is freaking cool.
All right. Oh, is that the holy crap, that's a huge battery. I'm posting a picture of mine to the Discord so they can see it.
Not sure which way the battery goes in. But
I'm just going to guess.
Nope, I tried it that way.
Oh.
But maybe they're dead. It needs to be charged. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Wow.
These are awesome lasers, dude. Holy crap.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Bouncing off the TV.
Thanks, bro. Man, that's awesome.
Laser.
Wow. And pretty sweet battery charger. Hey, don't burn up my equipment with that thing. And one last thing.
Man, these are amazing.
Please sign and return if I've earned it, of course. Thanks, Snakes. P.S. The other 2 are for you. Do whatever you want with.
What? Oh, he's got certificates of ignorances. He wants us to sign his certificate of ignorance.
Consider it done, my friend.
Yes, we will sign this and return it to you.
You have earned it, sir.
You have earned it.
That's freaking awesome. And these lasers are, wow.
Yeah.
These are awesome.
I took another pic to put in the Discord of it on. There it is. Bam.
That's cool. All right.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, too bad. I guess he sent this before we had to. He said, "See you in a few weeks," because we were going to Scablands. But
Yep. Sadly.
yeah, had to cancel that. Well, postpone it.
Yeah.
All right.
On to other things.
Yeah, you ready for space weather news from spaceweather.com. Approaching Mars. Earth is approaching Mars for one of the best close encounters of the past 20 years. As a result, amateur astronomers are starting to take pictures like this. And there's a picture of Mars. This is perhaps my best planetary image to date, says photographer Maximilian Tedorescu of Margarel Ilov, Romania. It was acquired on September 1st with a 355mm or 14-inch Newtonian telescope in excellent seeing conditions. Tedorescu has been monitoring Mars for months. The southern polar cap is much smaller now compared to just a few weeks ago, he says. This is happening because on Mars, the seasons are changing. It's late spring in its southern hemisphere. Waxing summer sunlight is vaporizing and sublimating polar dry ice. On the other side of the planet, winter is tightening its grip. Tedorescu captured a sign of that too. Note the North Polar Hood, a vast bank of icy blue clouds arcing over the Martian North Pole. Why blue? That is the color of sunlight scattered from tiny crystals of H2O and CO2 ice floating in the clouds. This feature will expand and intensify in the weeks ahead as northern autumn fully transitions to winter. And our closest approach to Mars will occur on October 6th. Between now and then, a lot will change on the red planet, so stay tuned. Let's see. Current conditions. Solar wind speed, 439.5 kilometers per second. And the density is 4.8 protons per cubic centimeter. And sun is blank, 0 sunspots. Current stretch, 13 days. And neutron count, plus 8.9% today.
Went down.
It did go down from yesterday.
Slow reaction, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, and the
Don't understand the new metrics. But maybe after 4 more years, we'll figure it out.
The other thing I've got here is, this is also from spaceweather.com. It was linked, and I noticed this yesterday, and I figured I'd go ahead and read the story today. This is actually from spaceweatherarchive.com. That was the link. That's where the link went to. So it's called A Warning from History. The Carrington event was not unique. September 1st, 2020. On September 1st, 1859, the most ferocious solar storm in recorded history engulfed our planet. It was the Carrington event, named after British scientist Richard Carrington, who witnessed the flare that started it. The storm rocked Earth's magnetic field, sparked auroras over Cuba, the Bahamas, and Hawaii, and set fire to telegraph stations, and wrote itself into the history books as the biggest solar storm ever. But sometimes what you read in the history books is wrong. Oh, really?
I did not know that.
The Carrington event was not unique, says Hisashi Hayakawa of Japan's Nagoya University, whose recent study of solar storms has uncovered other events of comparable intensity. While the Carrington event has long been considered a once-in-a-century catastrophe, historical observations warn us that this may be something that occurs much more frequently. To generations of space weather forecasters who learned in school that the Carrington event was one of a kind, these are unsettling thoughts. Modern technology is far more vulnerable to solar storms than 19th century telegraphs. Think about GPS, the internet, and transcontinental power grids that can carry geomagnetic storm surges from coast to coast in a matter of minutes. A modern-day Carrington event would cause widespread power outages along with disruptions to navigation, air travel, banking, and all forms of digital communication. Many previous studies of solar superstorms leaned heavily on Western Hemisphere accounts, omitting data from the Eastern Hemisphere. This skewed perceptions of the Carrington event, highlighting its importance while causing other superstorms to be overlooked. A good example is the Great Storm of mid-September of 1770, when extremely bright red auroras blanketed Japan and parts of China. Captain Cook himself saw the display from near Timor Island, south of Indonesia. Hayakawa and colleagues recently found drawings of the instigating sunspot, and it is twice the size of the Carrington sunspot group. Paintings, diary entries, and other newfound records, especially from China, depict some of the lowest latitude auroras ever spread over a period of 9 days. We conclude that the 1770 magnetic storm was comparable to the Carrington event, at least in terms of auroral visibility, wrote Hayakawa and colleagues in a 2017 Astrophysical Journal letter. Moreover, the duration of the storm activity was much longer than usual. Hayakawa's team has delved into the history of other storms as well, examining Japanese diaries, Chinese and Korean government records, archives of the Russian Central Observatory, and log books from ships at sea, all helping to form a more complete picture of these events. They found that superstorms in February of 1872 and May of 1921 were also comparable to the Carrington event, with similar magnetic amplitudes and widespread auroras. 2 more storms are nipping at Carrington's heels: the Quebec blackout of March 13th of 1989 and an unnamed storm on September 25th, 1909, were only a factor of 2 less intense. Contextualizing the Carrington event has become a busy niche in space weather research. One team led by Jeff Love of the USGS recently confirmed the near equality of Carrington to the May 1921 superstorm. And Hayakawa's team has just unearthed new records of extreme auroras in South America. So, are we overdue for another Carrington event? Maybe. In fact, we might have just missed one. In July 2012, NASA and European spacecraft watched an extreme solar storm erupt from the sun and narrowly miss Earth. If it had hit, we would still be picking up the pieces, announced Daniel Baker of the University of Colorado at a NOAA space weather workshop 2 years later. It might have been stronger than the Carrington event itself. History books, let the rewrite begin.
All right.
I like the fact that the guy who's watching for solar storms that are going to like toast Earth is named Baker.
Yes.
What do you got?
The moon.
Moon!
This is from ScienceDaily.com. Has Earth's oxygen rusted the moon for billions of years? To the surprise of many planetary scientists, the oxidized iron mineral hematite has been discovered at high latitudes on the moon, according to a study published today in Science Advances. Iron is highly reactive with oxygen, forming reddish rust commonly seen on Earth. The lunar surface and interior, however, are virtually devoid of oxygen. So pristine metallic iron is prevalent on the moon, and highly oxidized iron has not been confirmed in samples returned from the Apollo missions. In addition, hydrogen and solar wind blasts the lunar surface, which acts in opposition to oxidation. So the presence of highly oxidized iron-bearing minerals such as hematite on the moon is an unexpected discovery. Our hypothesis is that lunar hematite is formed through oxidation of lunar surface iron by the oxygen from Earth's upper atmosphere that has been continuously blown to the lunar surface by solar wind when the moon is in Earth's magnetotail during the past several billion years. To make this discovery, Professor Paul Lucy and co-authors from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory and elsewhere analyzed the hyperspectral reflectance data acquired by the Moon Mineralogy Mapper, designed by NASA JPL onboard India's Chandrayaan-1 mission. This new research was inspired by Lee's previous discovery of water ice in the moon's polar regions in 2018. When I examined the M3 data at the polar regions, I found some spectral features and patterns are different from those we see at the lower latitudes or the Apollo samples, said Lee. I was curious whether it is possible that there are water rock reactions on the moon. After months of investigation, I figured out I was seeing the signature of hematite. The team found the locations where hematite is present are strongly correlated with water content at high altitude or high latitude. Lee and others found previously, and are more concentrated on the near side, which always faces the Earth. More hematite on the lunar near side suggested that it may be related to Earth, said Lee. This reminded me of a discovery by the Japanese Kaguya mission that oxygen from Earth's upper atmosphere can be blown to the lunar surface by solar wind when the moon is in the Earth's magnetotail. So Earth's atmospheric oxygen could be the major oxidant to produce hematite. Water and interplanetary dust impact may also have played critical roles. Interestingly, hematite is not absolutely absent from the far side of the moon, where Earth's oxygen may have never reached, although much fewer exposures were seen, said Lee. The tiny amount of water, less than 0.1 WT percent, I don't know what that means, observed at lunar high latitudes may have been substantially involved in the hematite formation process on the lunar far side, which has important implications for interpreting the observed hematite on some water-poor S-type asteroids. This discovery will reshape our knowledge about the moon's polar regions, said Lee. Earth may have played an important role on the evolution of the moon's surface. The research team hopes that NASA's Artemis mission can return hematite samples from the polar regions. The chemical signatures of those samples can confirm their hypothesis whether the lunar hematite is oxidized by Earth's oxygen and may help reveal the evolution of the Earth's atmosphere in the past billions of years.
Wow.
So, yeah. Viruses flying to other planets in space.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In the solar wind.
Yeah. And the solar wind. Is it and some of it's coming, what is he saying? The water is coming from Earth? Is that what he's saying?
The oxygen's coming from Earth's atmosphere and being blown onto it when the moon is in Earth's magneto-tail behind the solar wind.
Yeah. Wow.
So
this may be like
cool.
a companion article to that, because it's Science Alert. This is also sciencealert.com, and it's surprise discovery in lunar craters could force us to rethink the moon's origins.
Yeah, this is Science Daily.
Okay.
Science Alert.
Science Alert,
Daily.
Science Daily. This says, scientists still aren't entirely sure how the moon formed, though plenty of hypotheses have been discussed. Now, new findings around metal deposits in lunar craters could mean we need to rethink those hypotheses again. In short, the findings suggest that there are more metals like iron and titanium in the moon's craters than we thought there were, and that might point to a rich store of metal material just under the lunar surface. How much metal the moon is holding in comparison to Earth is one of the key clues astronomers have when trying to figure out exactly how our satellite came to exist. Any adjustments in those readings can tell us more about the moon's origins. While the most prevalent hypothesis has been that the moon was spun off from Earth's crust as a result of a massive collision with a third body, our planet's crust has less iron oxide in it than the moon does, something that scientists have been trying to explain for some time. This new research posits that there's even more metal lurking just below the lunar surface, which wouldn't make sense if it had spun off from the relatively metal-poor Earth crust. That casts doubt on that preferred origin story, but it does make sense if the moon is a spaceship, right?
Yeah.
Come on. It really raises the question of what this means for our previous formation hypotheses, says space scientist Essam Hegi, space scientist, from the University of Southern California. By improving our understanding of how much metal the moon's subsurface actually has, scientists can constrain the ambiguities about how it is formed and how it is evolving and how it is contributing to maintaining habitability on Earth. The latest study is the result of radar readings from the miniature radio frequency instrument on board NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, which is currently circling around the moon. In the course of looking for ice, Mini-RF was busy measuring the dielectric constant, an electrical property of lunar soil within craters, when researchers noticed that the level rose as the craters got bigger, up to craters 5 kilometers in diameter, or 3.1 miles. In even larger craters, the dielectric constant leveled off. Follow-up analysis using data from other instruments and spacecraft confirmed that the larger craters contain more metal, quite possibly because they dig deeper into the moon's surface. This suggests that below the surface, which is relatively metal-free, there is a lot more to find. This exciting result from Mini-RF shows that even after 11 years in operation at the moon, we are still making new discoveries about the ancient history of our nearest neighbor, says planetary scientist Noah Petro from NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. The Mini-RF data is incredibly valuable for telling us about the properties of the lunar surface, but we use that data to infer what was happening over 4.5 billion years ago. Of course, there's still a lot of uncertainty when it comes to peering back that far and trying to work out the complexity of how the moon first fell into Earth's orbit. Further research is already underway to ascertain if this link is between more metal and bigger craters also holds true on the moon's southern hemisphere. It's possible that the moon was created from material much deeper inside Earth than previously thought, or that these extra metals are the result of a molten lunar surface gradually cooling down. There are quite a few potential possibilities, and many questions remain, but publishing findings like this helps to remove some of the unknowns about the moon and where it comes from, which should lead to better hypotheses in the future. And that applies to other moons in the solar system too, as well as our own. Our solar system alone has over 200 moons. Understanding the crucial role these moons play in the formation and evolution of the planets they orbit can give us deeper insights into how and where life conditions outside Earth might form and what it might look like, says Heggie. Yeah.
More metal, basically. That's
The moon is metal.
that's right. Did you know that we almost got nailed by another asteroid?
I had heard about it.
An
So
airplane-sized asteroid gives Earth a close shave. It poses no threat to our planet, though.
of course.
It's gone by now, but an asteroid the size of a jumbo jet will have a close encounter with Earth today, which is September 1st, zooming past our planet at about 1/3 the average distance to the moon. That's pretty close.
That is pretty close.
Stupid video pop-up moved my story. Asteroid 2011 or 2011 ES4 will make its closest approach today, September 1st at 12:12 p.m. According to NASA, at that time, good grief, space.com.
Space.com's videos.
Yeah.
Just you gotta take it easy. With
Yeah,
the scrolling.
dude, it's popping all over the place. Okay, at that time, it will be about 75,400 miles from Earth. Because the object's orbit isn't well known, it could pass even closer than that. Good grief.
Yeah.
At a distance of just 45,400 miles, NASA added. Will asteroid 2011 ES4 hit Earth? No. NASA's Asteroid Watch outreach arm wrote on Twitter. 2011 ES4's close approach is close on an astronomical scale, but poses no danger of actually hitting Earth. The asteroid measures somewhere between 72 feet and 161 feet in diameter, or about the size of a commercial airliner. I mean, that's a diameter. That's not.
Yeah. I mean, are we talking length?
Wasn't Tunguska like 100 feet?
150
like
feet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a Tunguska object, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. The asteroid, so during its close approach, it will be traveling at a speed of 18,253 miles per hour. It's pretty serious. And I at the time that I bookmarked this story, it was already after September 1st, and I looked to see, if they had observed it and what the actual distance was, because they were kind of given a range, and I couldn't find it, but maybe it's out there at this time. Didn't update my story, folks. Sorry about that. The asteroid 2011 ES4 was discovered by astronomers using the Mount Lemmon survey at the University of Arizona on March 2nd, 2011, less than 2 weeks before the space rock's first known flyby of Earth. But astronomers were only able to observe the asteroid for 4 days before it became too faint, and it has not been directly observed since, according to earthsky.org. This lack of observation data means that there is some uncertainty when it comes to calculating its exact trajectory. Although this asteroid has been known to astronomers for almost a decade, plenty of asteroids that fly by Earth go undetected until the last minute or remain unknown until after the flyby has happened. For example, 2 weeks ago, the newfound asteroid 2020 QG made the closest near miss on record, and it wasn't discovered until 6 hours later.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was interesting. They saw it a decade ago, and they were like, okay, they figured out some calculations. They're like, it's coming back at this time.
Yeah.
So they knew it was coming, but they hadn't really seen it yet.
Right. Yeah.
And they're like, it's going to be about a third of the distance to the moon, but maybe even closer than that.
Yeah. No, no threat though.
Can't see it yet. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
We found 99% of them.
I
Don't
mean,
worry.
it's like, if I fired a gun at you and the bullet went past your face with a couple inches, you're like, hey, that was no threat. Right?
right,
I mean,
yeah.
that posed no threat to me.
That's right. I have another story from space.com, which
All
is
right.
I'll try to do better
You're gonna
with
be
this
dodging videos.
this video pop up on the mobile. Canada's let's see, this is 22 days ago. Canada's last intact ice shelf just collapsed. Milne Ice Shelf was Canada's last intact ice shelf, and it just collapsed. On July 30th and July 31st, the northern part of the Arctic ice shelf began to break off. A mass of ice measuring about 31 square miles, bigger than Manhattan, then detached from the ice shelf and began drifting north. Representatives of the Water and Ice Research Laboratory at Carleton University in Ontario, Canada, said in a statement.
Discord is saying that sounds like a poorly built shelf.
That's right. 31 square mile chunk of ice broke and started drifting north. I mean,
Yeah.
dude,
That's cool.
I would like to go see that.
Yeah.
By August 3rd, the escaping ice island had split. One piece measured about 21 square miles, while another measured about 9 square miles, and both were about 230 to 260 feet thick, according to WIRL. Ice Weather News, WIRL. And other pre-existing fractures in the remains of the ice shelf hint that there may be more ice loss to come. WIRL representative said. Located on the northwestern coast of Ellesmere Island in Nunavut, the Milne Ice Shelf is about 4,000 years old. Signs of the impending breakup were spotted by Adrian White, an ice analyst at the Canadian Ice Service, Environment and Climate Change Canada, the E. According to WIRL, on August 2nd, the Canadian Ice Service shared satellite images in a tweet, reporting that above normal air temperatures, offshore winds, and open water in front of the ice shelf are all part of the recipe for ice shelf breakup. The shelf's sudden collapse was a close call for scientists studying ice loss in that precarious location, said Arctic ice researcher Derek Mueller, from the Mueller Report, an associate professor in Carleton University's Department of Geography and Environmental Studies. Our camp area and instruments were all destroyed in this event, according to the Mueller Report. It is lucky that we were not on the ice shelf when this happened. Ellesmere Island had been losing ice for more than a century. About 100 years ago, a vast single ice shelf extended along the island's northern coast, spanning more than 3,300 square miles. By 2000, the shelf was reduced to around 405 square miles, divided among 6 large ice shelves, including the Milne Ice Shelf, as well as a few smaller ones. Since 2003, there have been 5 major calving events on the Ellesmere Island coast, and there's no question that climate change is driving the drastic ice loss, according to Luke Copeland, University Research Chair of Glaciology in the Department of Geography at the University of Ottawa. And with the region warming at approximately 2 to 3 times the global rate, not to mention several summers of record-breaking warmth, the Milne and other ice shelves in Canada are simply not viable any longer. Anyway, I won't go on, but I just... Oh, the memes?
No, look at that.
Oh, yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying. I would have loved to have been there to see that. Freaking 31 square miles of ice break off the shelf and float out into the ocean. That would be freaking awesome.
Be amazing.
Anyway.
I love the freak out at the end there.
And the guy's name is Mueller, dude.
Yeah. We're not going to have any ice anymore. It's all going away. All right. So this is a really interesting thing. This is actually from a blog. And I think I got this from the Discord, too. I can't remember who sent this to me because it was a while back. But it's called Roaming Jewel. The blog is called Roaming Jewel. Jewel's Travel Adventures. And this is about an ostrich egg that was found in Aswan, Egypt. It's carved. Okay, very ancient. This is pretty cool. Today's archaeology profession estimates that the pyramids of Giza to be about 4,600 years old. However, because the pyramids are made of stone, traditional dating methods using carbon-14 can't be used to estimate their age. There aren't any good ways to determine when stone structures were built by examining the structures themselves. It is necessary to rely on organic materials such as human remains found inside or near the structures. In the case of the 3 major Giza pyramids, bodies were not found inside, and therefore the carbon-14 dating has relied on artifacts found on the surrounding plateau, such as the remains of bread in a fire pit. It's a reasonable methodology, but it relies on the assumption that the pyramids were built at the same time as the village that surrounded them. However, what if the 3 large pyramids were built before the village? What if the village was built on top of something older which hasn't yet been excavated? Perhaps a clue lies elsewhere to the age of the pyramids. An ostrich egg was found in a tomb near Aswan that shows 3 triangular structures side by side. According to carbon dating methods, the human remains found in that same tomb were 7,000 years old.
Oh, dude, that's freaking cool.
Therefore, yeah, that's cool, right? Therefore, it is reasonable to think objects found in that tomb, including the egg, were equally old.
So wait a minute. The 2 things that they've used to date the pyramid are eggs and toast at this point?
Best joke yet, buddy. That one was a really good one.
I kind of stole that from somebody in the Discord.
Oh, okay, well, you know, Discord's got good jokes.
Somebody said that's some stale bread.
And now they're asking if there was bacon.
Yes. Well, that was the humans, right?
That's right. The mummy is the bacon, man. Come on. Okay. I've totally lost my place. All right, so let's see. Could the triangles etched on that presumably 7,000-year-old egg represent the pyramids of Giza? Some people think so, while others are skeptics. Alongside the triangles, there's a marking that some people could represent the Nile River and the Fayum Oasis, but again, others are scriptards. I haven't seen any debate questioning that the egg itself is 7,000 years old. That seems to be accepted. The debate I've seen centers around what the drawing represents, i.e., does it represent the Giza pyramids, Nile River, and Fayum Oasis as the theorists claim, or does it represent something else? The photo at the top of this page shows the view of the egg that I photographed when I visited the Nubian Museum in 2018. It sits inside a glass case with a wall behind it, so there is a limit to what angle can be photographed. But in 2019, I noticed that the museum had changed the angle of the egg that was visible to me, so I took another photo showing a clearer view of the 3 triangles. Some skeptics have suggested that the three triangles might represent the Nubian pyramids of Sudan in the Meroitic kingdom of Kush. However, the Sudanese pyramids marked tombs and were much more recently than the tomb, built much more recently than the tomb the ostrich egg was found in. So that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, not going to work.
Right. The Nubian pyramids are also much farther south than where the egg was found, in what during ancient times would have been a completely different kingdom from the one governing the Aswan area where the egg was found. Today, the ostrich egg resides in the Nubian Museum in Aswan in Egypt. I had the pleasure of seeing it firsthand myself on May 6 in 2018 while I was in Aswan. It's fascinating to look at this 7,000-year-old object and try to come up with alternate theories for what the image is showing. So far, I keep coming back to the conclusion that maybe it does show that the pyramids of Giza are older than what mainstream archaeologists currently believe. And I look forward to seeing how future discoveries enhance our insights into the past.
Man, that's great. Holy crap.
Yeah, really cool. I mean, look at that. That's pretty cool.
It's freaking obvious.
Yeah.
That's the Nile and 3 pyramids.
I know, it's great. So, I just thought that was really cool.
I'm buying it.
Yeah, I'll buy it. All right, we're taking a first break?
Yep.
All right.
Right now.
Right now. Snakes!
Back. Snake Bros Institute of Advanced Coprolite Studies, where there are no degrees, only this. My now official certificate of ignorance, which Russ will need to sign.
I have to sign it. I'm not sure.
It has not been signed yet. Damn it. Thank you, History Shift.
Yeah, those are great. We need to get them. We need to get print. Have them printed on lambskin or something, right? Sheepskins.
And then you can get a collection.
A collection.
Of those.
And inside joke.
Can give them to your mom.
Show me your mom's lambskin collection. Yeah. All right. Inside joke that no one's going to
Total meaningless lyrics created by Ty in the middle of the night while drinking booze.
All right, so I got some reviews here. Some of these are fantastic. There's probably too many to read. But this first one's called Do You Even Snake Bro? It says, this is the one. Know it or not, this is the podcast you have been searching for. The Snake Bros will charm you with their brotherly banter and infectious laughter, discussing the best of the ancient and mysterious topics from pyramids to procession, Shamir shaping impossible blocks, Yuga cycles, and I gotta open the link here. My internet is real slow. Yuga cycles and something. Yuga cycles, Younger Dryas, along with the excellent deep dives into the works of Graham Hancock, Randall Carlson, Christopher Dunn, John Anthony West, and more. Are you tired of listening to the Skirps make excuses for the standard model? Don't be a Johnson. Download Brothers of the Serpent today, the fastest 2 hours of podcasting with the most fantastic music and podcasting by Kyle. Come for the certificate of ignorance and stay for the 30% brain expansion guaranteed. Friends or family may ask you about your new longhead status, to which you can reply, do you even snake, bro? Shout out to the Snake Force in the Discord. The Watcher is watching. My Way of the Snake. Graham Hancock to Joe Rogan to Randall Carlson to Snakes. P.S. Also check out Cosmographia, their butt flap rattling podcast with Randall. Man,
that's
Turn that
that's
into
not a review.
No,
That's an infomercial.
Commercial.
That's awesome.
From Dugan's 34. From the United States. Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, regarding space-time. Great podcast. I was wondering if you guys had looked at orange theory / vortex maths because your ideas of redshift seem to be explained by them. Peace, from Johnny in Scotland.
Nope, but isn't it man? Just forgot his name. Brandon, right? Was it Brandon? No.
Who are we talking about?
M. Picosa, his brother. He's the guy that did the.
Yeah. Brandon Powell.
Brandon Powell.
Yeah.
His brother is like all into the vortex math.
That's right.
And we talked about possibly getting him on the show at some point.
Yeah, we did.
But I don't understand that stuff. Turn it into sound, and it'll
make more sense.
Help me figure it out. Yeah.
All right, this is a great one. It's called Interesting Information, hosted by Beavis and Butthead. This show is pretty interesting, has a lot of things I really want to learn about. Unfortunately, it is made unlistenable by the hosts. They giggle like Beavis and Butthead every time they say something, constant laughing at things that are not even funny. Quote, there are ancient ruins that predate the known civilization in the area. Ha 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 ha. There might be infinite universes. Ha 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 ha.
No, I have never said that.
That's right.
You obviously don't listen to the show.
Good info is always ruined by 10 to 20 seconds of laughter at things that are just not funny. It's like these guys smoke half a pound of weed and then do the show.
Tobacco.
I want to like it. I just wish it was done seriously.
We are the most serious podcast in the universe.
I know. This guy just doesn't understand. But he gave us 2 stars. So he obviously thinks we're cool. This guy thinks we're cool, Beavis. Interesting.
Cheer up, guy.
Yeah. Let's see. 5 stars. Great listen. Rich and brotherly listening. Snakes from Canada. G. Casagrande. And then Double-Edged Sword. Let's see what this one is. Hey, Snake Bros. Thank you for reading my comment on episode 159. And wow, what a great interview. So many fascinating concepts and ideas. I have been skewered by the double-edged sword of wanting to keep digesting the podcast and all of the other great shows you have introduced me to, but I am also needing to deep dive into a whole host of books now in order to fully understanding everything you're discussing and to be able to have valid contributions to the Discord, etc. Hope to donate very soon and send y'all to them pyramids. Hope you guys are well. Keep slithering and stay cold-blooded. Apologies for all the names. It's Ash or Black Highlander in the Discord. Snacks! Ah, that was from Black Highlander. Hell yeah. Who calls himself Ghetto Blaster Guy on Apple Podcasts. Doxed. Ghetto Blaster Guy. That's great. This one says, wicked, awesome, and funny. These guys are great. Their back and forth banter is hilarious. See? Beavis and Butthead guy. Some people think we're funny. And they cover a wide range of interesting and fascinating topics that span the length and breadth of this wide, weird, and woolly world we live in. Their Ophidian observations are both humorous and thought-provoking, and their lively conversation is peppered with descriptive serpent euphemisms. So listen, laugh, and learn, or just sit back and enjoy the oral journey. That's from Roddy the Mammal.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, somebody else uses the word Ophidian. Nope, same guy.
This one's titled Snacks, a brilliant podcast from two brothers who laugh a lot and talk about pyramids and old stuff. From Great Britain.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And this one is called Snacks. It's just love the show, guys. Keep it up. Lots of good ones here. Welcome home. Each new episode is but the next installment of an ongoing conversation about the multitude of things in heaven and earth that are stranger than our philosophies and scientific models account for. And no topic is too taboo for intrepidly curious and rigidly open-minded explorers of the esoteric epistemology, Brother Kyle and Russ Snake. From pyramids to ley lines to dolmens and dark matter, bananas and the Bible. Yes, dear reader, and the electric universe theory. So, if your desire to ponder life's great mysteries knows no bounds and far exceeds the patience of friends and family, then this is your official Burn After Reading invitation to join the Snake Force. A clutch group of folk who have all left the divisiveness of what we think we know behind us and have embraced what really binds us together, our common ignorance. And yet we can't get enough of it. So give it a listen. I promise we are not a cult. From Ohio Hydra.
That's great.
Fantastic. This one has a title that scared me when I first saw it, but it's a 5-star review and it's great. Anyway, it's called A Horrible Slog of a Podcast, Trudging Through Quicksand and Garbage for 30% Brain Expansion. I first learned of this podcast on Where Did the Road Go. Against my better judgment, I decided to give them a listen, using only one ear just to be safe. To my complete and utter surprise, they earned the use of both ears. Turns out, like myself, they are Graham Hancock fans. I have spoken to Graham on 2 occasions. Once, during his research at Serpent Mound for the latest book, my father's property line shares a border with the Serpent Mound, which makes me a spiritual snake brother. The other contact
Makes me jealous.
Yeah. The other time I spoke to Graham was at Contact of the Desert. I could listen to that man talk all day. You guys, however, twice a week is sufficient, although Randall does most of the talking on the other show. All ribbing aside, I had finally found a podcast about Earth history that asked the same questions I have been asking and presenting books and research material on the subjects at a relaxed intellectual level and a pace which the information can easily be absorbed. My tip to the newcomer to this material or listeners unfamiliar with the sources that have been used is to listen to show presentation of the section of the book they are using and then go read that section. I think you will find that is a good way to quickly familiarize yourself with these topics and retain the information. If everyone follows this simple outline, soon we will have an army of armchair Indiana Joneses and fingers crossed one short round, and Randall will obviously have the title of Dr. Jones Sr. Together, we can turn tide against the academic regime of bullheaded unwillingness to entertain new ideas about old things, ignoring evidence like the Black Knight of Monty Python. What? That? It's nothing but a flesh wound. When the evidence has in fact cut their legs from the grounds that they stand on. To the curious new listener, never mind my review title, you will get the joke soon enough. To the brothers, keep up the outstanding work. The podcast has inspired a direction for show ideas I've been kicking around, wondering how I can make it different from the others in the same vein. Before I end this god-awful slog of a review, I extend an open invitation to my family's place at Serpent Mound in Ohio, and if Serpent Mound isn't interesting enough on its own, a tidbit that sweetens the area. Close examination of the area is a site of an ancient impact crater, according to local experts. So, if you guys, and hell, I guess if Randall wanted to come, check out the cool sites of the Ohio River Valley and the foothills of the Appalachians, and you can set up the headquarters on our land. We got plenty of space.
Bam!
Let's go.
Let's do it, buddy. Yes.
From Anglo the Saxon.
But you have to join the cult.
That's right. You have to join the cult. And this is the last one. Great podcast. I started listening a few weeks ago. Very entertaining, and the content is great. Keep up the good work, guys. From Mark.
All right.
From
Thanks,
Great
Mark.
Britain. Yeah. See? You know, we need to play the serious We gotta that commercial was made for that guy.
That's right. We're gonna
play it right now.
Brothers of the Serpent podcast. Listen to Snake Bros, two dudes and a longhead in a bunker in outer space, seriously talking about serious pyramids and all other subject matter. The most serious commentary in podcasting. Listen now and get serious.
Yeah, so the Hypogeum on Malta, when they first found it, there were like 6,000 skeletons inside it.
Dead serious.
The Baalbek blocks weigh 1,600 tons.
Serious stones.
The Templars went to Jerusalem and found the Shamir.
Serious
The
artifacts.
processional cycle is 25,920 years long.
Serious numbers.
Serpent in the Sky has 3 appendices about the Sphinx.
Serious appendixes.
And do you know what the dog star is?
Serious.
There are precision machined boxes in the Serapeum that weigh 70 tons.
Granite boxes made of stone.
Can't cut granite with copper, it's too hard.
Hard facts.
What's actually happening is we're coming up on an ice age.
Cold hard facts.
Most of the time, we're wrong about everything.
30% brain expansion. Guaranteed. Listen to Brothers of the Serpent podcast and discover serious concepts like scriptards,
Friggin' scriptards.
Johnson,
Nice gun, John.
bowling pin hats,
All the Egyptian gods are wearing bowling pin hats.
shoulder rivers,
Inky's got rivers coming out of his shoulders.
and dudes with spears and butt flaps.
It's always depicted as dudes running around in butt flaps.
Serious subjects, serious commentary, dead serious podcasting. Brothers of the Serpent podcast. Download now.
Get all of your super serious Brothers of the Serpent commentary at brothersoftheserpent.com or anywhere podcasts can be found. See? We're a serious podcast. This is serious stuff, guys.
Dead serious.
Yeah. We made that commercial specifically for guys like that. Ha ha ha. All right. What else we got here? Those were the reviews. Lots of good reviews coming in. Thanks to everybody for sending the reviews. And we got a whole bunch of listener communications, comments, and other things we need to go through here. So this one is from, this is a comment on the website from episode 159, which was with Laird Scranton. And I think this is Uncle Jay.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, buddy.
It says, after hearing Laird Scranton suddenly realize something during your interview, I think a new word should be added to your glossary. Snake epiphany. A sudden realization during the podcast. From Uncle John. Hell yeah.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah. Man, I need to send him an email about that. Too.
Yeah.
I was like, I should probably remind him.
Yeah. Remind you that
You discovered
learned
something
on our
and
show.
You're
and
going
yeah.
to figure it out and come back and tell us about it.
Yeah. And then Brenner commented, let it be known, this might be my new favorite episode.
Oh, Laird Scranton?
Yeah.
All right.
And then he said, also, I'm buying it. Everything y'all talked about and all of Laird's books.
Yes. That's where we get the phrase from.
Yeah.
I'm buying it.
Brenner, I'm buying it. I buy it. Yeah, bro, I bought it. Wow. So this one has lyrics in it. Should I go through it?
I don't know. It's up to you, man. This is your job.
It's my job. It's called. He calls it the Snake Bohemian Rhapsody.
All right, let's hear
Says,
it.
Dear Snake Bros, I just finished listening to all the episodes from episode 2 while hiking the Benton Mackey Trail in Georgia.
Wow.
I wrote you guys a song. Please cue up Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. And it shall never forever now be known as the Snake Bohemian Rhapsody. So he's like hiking along, listening to us, and he's coming up with these lyrics. This is the snake life. Much synchronicity. I do it.
Synchronicity.
We do the landslide as we question reality. Open these eyes, look up to the skies, and see I'm just a snake, bro. I need no stinking degree because I'm having fun. No egos. Pretty high above dusty bones. Every day my mind blows. Doesn't really matter to me. Explosion sound.
It doesn't work.
It's like, hey guy, just chill, man. Don't let the scriptards get to your head. They're just triggered. They wet the bed. Hey guy, just keep having fun. If they need to get in a workout, they can just wait. Scriptards didn't mean to make you cry. Snake Bros will be back in the tangent queue this time tomorrow. Slither on, slither on. This podcast really matters to me.
That's great.
Love you guys. Space Ramen Shaman, a.k.a. Samuel Harry Squanch. I am Life Cycle Hikes on Instagram and YouTube. Hell yeah.
All right, man.
Thank you. I could have sang the whole thing, but, Bohemian Rhapsody is hard to sing. I couldn't do it. But that was great. Great lyrics.
It's a little beyond my range there.
Yeah. Man, they're calling me
We'll have to get
now.
Ty to do it. Ty can totally do it.
Yeah, you can. But this is like an Alan tradition too, is like taking songs and rewriting all the lyrics to be goofy stuff. I'm sure it's many people's
Yeah, we do it with our own songs.
We do it
all
with
the time.
our own music, yeah. Let's see what else we got. Not that one. Not that one. Okay, this is from Fontini. Hey, Fontini is a comment on 159 with Laird Scranton. He's saying, I was thinking about Kyle's mild annoyance of models. To spin it in a positive way, maybe think about it like...
Mild?
Models show us what is relatively possible using the available data, which is kind of cool. Yeah, anything is possible theoretically, or if you look at the right model, LOL, but if predicted by a model with reasonable constraints, it just shows all the different plausibilities. Science kicks ass.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
We know that, buddy. Yes. When you don't have real science to do models.
Right.
Basically, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. I get it.
All right, this is from Brewpastor. Says, loving me some Laird. Hey there, Snake Bros. Thank you for another amazing show last week. I found that the Bots podcast is like fine beer or great wine in that it pairs very well with other things. I want to offer a big thanks to fellow Snake LP McQuack, who a couple of weeks ago turned me on to an interview on Forum Borealis with Dr. Joseph Farrell. I've listened now to both your most recent episode and this outersode 2 times each, and it is amazing how some of these themes overlap. And it is also amazing how these themes seem to give deeper meaning to what I have been digging in my own experience. Dr. Farrell spent much of his time discussing the topological metaphor, which is, by my understanding, the idea that there is some sort of deeper reality to everything, but that the material world around us is symbolism or analogy that somehow expresses the deeper reality underlying it all. Then on your show, you've got Laird talking about the Dogon worldview that proclaims a deeper reality than just the material world that is around us, and how matter itself is somehow an expression or projection of something that is more real than what most of us would describe as reality. And then add to that all this theological stuff that's been rattling around in my mind for over the last few years. For example, how perhaps the central message of Jesus was that a non-material realm, in his case the kingdom of heaven, is drawing near. Or how one particular thread of Christian eschatology proclaims not a destruction of the world at the end, but a transformation that brings into harmony with this other realm. And finally, how in our faith tradition we define a sacrament as an outward and visible sign and seal of an inward and an invisible reality. It sounded to me like these 3 things, the topological metaphor of Dr. Farrell, the Dogon worldview as conveyed by Laird, and the deepest roots of my faith tradition seem to resonate in some sort of harmony that I can clearly hear but have yet to fully understand. So let me just say, I am delighted. I didn't expect it, and I wasn't looking for it, but it just came out through the ponderings of all these great minds. And it gives me hope that, in fact, all these winding roots and branches of truth that each of us travel on are slowly leading us towards that singular truth of all things. Just 2 questions. First, Kyle, did you choose the bumper music that followed Laird's interview intentionally? That particular tune you've only played short snippets of before, but this time you let it get to the second section where you oscillate back and forth between a major chord and a minor chord at the same pitch. It seemed to me a clear musical representation of the relationship between material and non-material worlds. Rarely in diatonic harmony does one hear the same chord represented in both major and minor form without a key change or modulation. That harmonic expression seems to convey the idea of 2 intricately related, inverse worlds existing simultaneously in one space. If you meant it, that's awesome. And if you didn't, also awesome. And second, as Laird was talking about the fluid time frame of the material/non-material universe pair, I couldn't help but think about the question of our own experience of time. Most people will tell you that as they age, they experience time moving more quickly. So then are we like Laird's train example? Do we come into the world with a set experience of time flow, and as it slows down around us, we feel ourselves speeding up? Does this give us a clue into the ages of people in ancient texts such as the Old Testament or the Egyptian King's List? My church secretary asks me about this all the time, so if you could help me find an answer, that would be great. Anyways, snakes, your brother in fermentation, Pastor Jordan.
Man. It's good stuff.
Did you pick that intentionally?
I think it's Aeternum, and I think I did.
Yeah.
But
I remember you saying I want to use this part. I wasn't, but yes, Kyle picks all the bumper music intentionally. He thinks about what we were talking about. He kind of thinks about the mood, right?
It's mostly mood oriented, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you dove deep into that.
Yeah.
But I think it was Aeternum, which is the song I just played during the break for the Discord people.
Yes, that's
and
right.
it's a really old version. It's the very original version of Aeternum that Ty wrote on his iPad or on his phone on GarageBand.
That's right.
And like he recorded the guitar like through the phone mic and played all the violins on the phone, like the little, it's got gives you the little string thing, and you like slide your finger along and play. And
Ty, they're asking. So Ty is the lead guitarist and the other songwriter for $50 Dynasty.
Yeah.
We reference him quite often in the show.
Yeah, and he's the one who could sing Bohemian Rhapsody.
That's right.
He can do it.
He can do it.
And it would be hilarious.
Yes.
But yeah, he's the lead guitarist. So yeah, I've had that song for years. And I'll play it at the end of the segment. I think it's the same one.
Yeah.
But it's really long, so there's all these different movements in the song.
That's right. Yeah.
And so whenever I have a bumper song, I pick, there's all these parts, and I kind of have like my go-to parts that I've picked over the years that are just kind of like, this is where I'm going to kick it in. And then sometimes I'm like, I want to do something a little different. This song's kind of long. Let me find something new. And I don't know. It may have been that, or it could have been,
wasn't there one that you played that you were like, I'm going to put this part in there because I never... Yeah. Well, we'll have to check. Somebody go find out.
It's either
one of you trolls figure this out.
It's either Aeternum or Stalactite.
What was the song we played at the end of the Laird interview?
They wouldn't know the name of it.
Yeah, I know. They could be like, yeah, it's that song you play all the time.
I'll look at it. I'll figure it out during the break. But I'm pretty sure it's either that one or Stalactite.
Yeah.
Which is also in the Sirius commercial.
That's right. Okay. This one is from Bill. He says, this is called The Wandering Mind of a Pipe Installation Specialist. Snake Bros. So, today at work, I was listening to your deep dive into the Giza power plant again while working. I was on part 2 when you were postulating about the giant block and the chips in the subterranean shaft and chamber when something struck me. This is a power plant. It has to have safeguards in place to keep it from going critical. I have a background in instrumentation and control. And one thing you always see in power plants, especially nuclear ones, is an automatic shutoff system. For instance, the new reactors being built in Georgia have a huge chill water tank above the core. If it detects any out-of-control reaction, it dumps the water and shuts it down. What if that was the purpose of the block and chips? If it started to resonate past a safe point, this block fell and plugged the shaft to the water hammer underneath, shutting down the plant.
Yes.
Also, after listening to you and Randall and learning about ET impacts affecting the lithosphere, I wonder what that would do to a huge resonating structure tied to the bedrock. Would it cause the damage we see today? Thank you for all you do and keeping me laughing to myself at work. Snakes! From Bill.
That's good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. The idea of an automatic shutoff system.
And he's referring to the granite plugs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. A huge chill water tank. It's just chilling up there above the nuclear power plant. Let's see.
Oh, wait, they're playing a drinking game when we say snakes?
Anytime we say snakes or somebody laughs, they have to drink. They're going to be totally hammered. Okay, this is a guest recommendation from Douglas. And he says, ITM, lads.
Hey. Thank you for your courage.
Yeah, thank you for your courage, sir. Have you thought of having Ben Davidson on to discuss the sun and its effects on the Earth? I think it would be advantageous for the space weather part of your podcast.
Yeah,
From
that'd be cool.
the Baron Hank Scorpio.
We should get him on for the first segment one time.
That would be
And
great.
just do a Space Weather News deep dive.
Yeah.
Maybe he can explain why
That would be really
I have no idea what's going on with the proton density or something.
That would be cool. And I want to say thanks to all of you, the No Agenda listeners out there. Really cool that you guys have been checking out the show. Oh, and I want to announce this too. We have a new 4320 patron.
Hey.
Yeah, that would be a Master Commander. You have that soundbite on there somewhere?
Yeah, I got that. What are you talking about?
Of course I have it.
Of course. Of course. It's right here. Well, it's right here.
Master and Commander Dave signed up for 4320 on the Patreon. Thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah. What's wrong with your soundboard there?
Shh. It's going to work.
Okay.
Just pretend like it worked, okay?
All right. I can do that. It's just not working.
Flawless. Zero mistakes.
All right. This one is called Thoughts on Pyramids from Matthew. From Matt. He says, Dear Snake Bros, when trying to understand ancient megaliths, there is an inherent weirdness that is also common to UFO-type encounters that defies any type of explanation. Let's just use the Great Pyramid as an example. The fact that our scientific civilization that is capable of putting men on the moon is unable to define the purpose, meaning of, or construction techniques employed in the pyramid serves to illustrate a fundamental misunderstanding of the culture and people who built it. The fact that we really don't have any clue just goes to show how far apart our societies are. When I say fundamental misunderstanding, I mean people thought differently and communicated differently on a fundamental level. We know that modern man appeared 200,000 years ago, but we also know that there were other human ancestors and contemporaries living at different points during those 200,000 years. So who is to say when the modern human mind emerged, or what iterations of it were present at different points in the last 200,000 years? We know that Neanderthals were a symbolic species, and it appears Denisovans were also, but what were their motivations? Did the symbolic structure of so-called modern humans 200,000 years ago resemble the ones we use today? This is not to say that they weren't intelligent. Their works are proof that they were, but maybe a different kind of intelligence. I am reminded of the Star Trek The Next Generation episode in which Captain Picard must communicate with an alien race whose entire language is just a series of stories. There is a fundamental X factor that we are missing in trying to understand these things. Anyways, I just recently stumbled onto your podcast, and I have to say it has kept me up late many nights, so keep doing what you're doing. Matt.
Hey, yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
It's kept us up late many nights as well.
It does all the time. Let's see. From Eric? Or should we take a break?
Yeah.
Yeah. Break time.
Was that a long one or a short one?
It's pretty long.
All right. Well, we'll take a break, folks.
Yeah.
And we'll be back with more listener communications and other snaky thoughts.
That's right. Continue the drinking game. Ha! Ha 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 ha. Keep drinking. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, brothers of the Serpent podcast, with history the way you wish it was taught, and laughing in weird random places. Ha 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 ha. And I don't know if I could do the rest of the show in the Butthead voice, but that would be pretty cool.
No, but you have to do your like 90s, 50s announcer guy.
Yeah, I do remember that. Okay. So hopefully this guy will be okay with me doing that to his email.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'll be fine. This is from New Jersey Snake, from Eric. He says, Greetings, limbless reptile siblings. I, like many people, came upon your podcast through Cosmographia. I had been following Graham Hancock's work since the 90s when I was in high school. Fingerprints of the Gods was an eye-opener for me and got me started down this path. My brother got me onto Randall Carlson a couple of years ago, and I hadn't seen the Rogan episodes yet. And I started following his work. And when I first started watching Cosmographia, I thought to myself, who are these two laughing bozos on here with Randall? But when I've then checked out your show, I was delighted to find a couple of dudes with similar interests and a sense of humor to me. It definitely makes listening enjoyable. I've been trying to spread the word about your show, but unfortunately, I don't know too many people who are interested in this kind of thing. Especially women. Unfortunately, hey girl, you're a Taurus because you're hotter than the wildfires of the Younger Dryas Impact isn't the best pickup line. Anyway, I just wanted to thank you guys for keeping up my spirits through the People's Republic of New Jersey's oppressive and never-ending lockdown. I've bought a t-shirt and I've donated a couple of times over the past few months. I'll try to throw some bucks your way whenever I have a few to spare. I'll also make an effort to be more active in the Discord, but since I find it hard to keep up with the conversations, since I don't have a lot of free time to do it, I definitely love the music. I'm sure you guys have already discussed this, but when you eventually get back to Egypt, maybe look into going to one of those Brian Forster tours. I'm trying to save up money to go myself. Maybe I'll see you guys at the Giza power plant someday. Take care and keep up the good work. Eric.
That was great. Man, you sound like an outstanding gentleman, Eric.
Man, that was hard. It was fun though.
Did you pass the Dvorak test? You know, were you really sticking with it the whole time, or did it start to fade away?
No, I stuck with it.
Okay.
I tried my best to stick with it. Yeah. Is that the Dvorak test?
Yeah, he's like when people do impressions, they start out and they can do a couple of lines real good, and then they slowly start to lose it.
Oh, I felt like I was getting better as I went along. So I don't know. Also, I want to say, I won't read this one necessarily, but we got an email from a dude named Daniel, and he says, "Love the show. I have been able to get my smoking hot wife to listen as well, and we've taken up watching Cosmographia. Also, gotta love Randall. Anyway, I know you've been a bit reluctant to have people do web stuff for you, but I heard your recent episode where you were talking about trying to get some meetups going for the Ophidian family."
Aha.
And he says, "Well, this is a Sir Dude named Daniel, and I run the noagendameetups.com. Yes. So he says, "I know you guys are No Agenda listeners as well, so maybe you've heard of me and my little site. Just crossed my mind that maybe you'd be interested in me doing the same for the Snake family. Second, setting up a meeting or member-generated meetup site. Since I already have the NA one set up, it would be fast." So I think that's a fantastic
that would be
idea.
awesome.
Yes.
And it can be oriented on, I mean, this is just an idea. I'm not the guy doing it, but going to see the local ancient sites and stuff like that.
Exactly.
That'd be
we'll do
awesome.
SnakeForceMeetups.com.
Snake Force. That's right.
So I have written him back, and we've been going back and forth on it, and he's totally down to do it. So it'll be awesome.
Man, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for your courage. Dude named Daniel. Okay. This one has a lot of photos in it, but I still think I want to read it. He says, this is called Holes and Bones from Cody. He says, "Hello, Snake Bros. My girlfriend and I were recently on a hike up Big Cottonwood Canyon in Salt Lake, and we came across some oddly symmetrical holes in a rock. My mom says she thinks they were for blasting, but what do you think?" So this is what he's looking at. What do you think of that? They kind of look, I mean, we see stuff like this up here.
It's limestone?
Yeah. On a less mysterious but still awesome note, I was telling my mom about hunting for bones, and she had just seen some vertebrae on the side of the highway in Castle Rock up near the UTWY border. So, being unemployed and bored, we decided to go check it out. We drove an hour east of SLC and pulled off on what is essentially a dirt rest stop, and we found the vertebrae, which were actually connected to a tail. It looked like somebody had dumped the animal in a sack, and scavengers got to it before us. We originally thought it might be a coyote or a house dog, but after searching the sage for half an hour or so, we just stumbled on the rest of the skeleton minus the skull. None of us has ever seen anything this big, and it obviously wasn't a deer or cow. It was at least 6 feet long without the tail.
Whoa.
I did some quick googs and determined it was a cougar. But what we want help figuring out is how big this guy was. Hopefully the pictures I've attached will be good enough to get a good guess on its age and weight. Thanks! So yeah, that's a... Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty amazing. Quick googs.
Yep, googs. That's going in the repertoire right there. That's a good one. I did some quick googs.
All right. This one is called Episode 77 Comments. from Jacob. He says, "Hey, Snakes. Was listening to episode 77 a few days ago, and the stories of items found in coal really got me thinking. I have always heard that coal forms from organic matter that got buried and experienced high temperatures and pressures. After the episode, I went looking for how high of temperatures, but even the science journals could not answer that. They merely repeated high temperatures and pressures. Given that people have found metal objects inside of coal, I must think that the Skerptard's theory for coal formation is wrong, as metal objects at high temperatures would have melted and lost their form. But a side story, yesterday I swear I saw a large cobra-like snake out of the corner of my eye that was standing up on its tail, but a second glance it was gone. Must have been the Snake Bros astral projecting."
Is that another story about a snake standing on its tail?
Yeah, it's weird.
That is weird.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if the temperatures have to be high enough to melt metal. But gold, I don't know. What's the melting point of gold? It's not very high, is it? Because most of the metal stuff found in coal is, at least the reports are of gold stuff. And I think that's because most other metals would just decay, right?
I don't know. Wasn't paying attention
Oh,
to the first part.
okay.
My bad. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, he was just saying that, like all the stories of stuff found in coal, metal pieces, necklaces, and other artifacts found in coal, made him think that, and he went to look at how coal forms, and it's all the science journals are saying high temperatures and pressures. And he was just like, well, how high can the temperature be? If you find metal artifacts in coal, it can't be that high. It can't be higher than the melting point of that metal.
Unless it was just trapped in there. I mean, where's it going to go if it melts? But it's trapped inside the coal.
Yeah, that's right.
But also your melting temperatures go up the higher the pressure. So
Very true.
like pressure and temperature are sort of related in that way. So if you pull a vacuum, the melting temperature is
Goes
way
down.
lower.
Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, you could have a gold artifact completely caught in the coal, and the temperature could be really high and pressure really high, and it might melt, but it's in a mold built by the coal.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And with high enough pressure, maybe it won't melt.
Yeah. Okay. What we got next here? This one from Tracy. It says, "Guys, I have to express my frustration with not being able to get a lot of things done every day. This lack of productivity is solely the fault of the Brothers of the Serpent. I spend way too many hours per day, as the Watcher stated once, staring at a wall. Later, I have to gather up scattered brain cells after the many mind-blowing experiences had while listening to the podcast. Thanks for the mind expansion. I may have to begin cradle boarding my head as it expands to keep it from growing in any strange ways." If you haven't already listened to videos of Dave Talbot's, I would highly recommend doing so. You may experience, as I have, a paradigm shift. And he gives a couple of links to videos here. P.S. Continue questioning the dating methods of the standard model in mainstream geology. They are deeply flawed. Once you understand this, the many ooparts and forbidden archaeological discoveries found around the world start to make sense. This world has seen many catastrophic events that have radically changed the face of the earth, and yes, men have been around during these events, and our myths describe them fairly well. Velikovsky was a genius! Keep challenging the standard model and current history books. We all need more of the truth. A fellow snake brother, Tracy. P.S. If you could get Dave on as a guest, I will cradle board my head to match his. Snakes!
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. This is from, Change? The email, the name is Change Gasket. Don't think it's probably an alias, right? There's some snakes in my boots is the title. Y'all did an incredible interview with Mr. Scranton. He should definitely come back for another scuffle in the pit. I apologize for not being current on the backlog episodes, but I don't recall anyone asking you to do a little research into the electric universe. I mean, joke. Reese and Carl, if you haven't been asked already, y'all should speak with Brian Forrester about his experience at any of the megalithic sites. If it's the pyramids, ask about the labyrinth underneath. Ben from Uncharted X made a wonderful documentary on the subject, but he would also be an amazing return guest. I wish you all the best with the incoming storms. Stay safe, my Ecotherm bros.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, Reese and Carl.
we gonna get together with Ben or what?
Yeah.
Is that in the works?
I think it's in the works, yeah. We've been talking about it. But I think the next, there he is. Next plan is for us to go on his show.
Oh yeah, cool.
We're going to do like, Snake Bros nickel seat commentary on some of his B-side videos.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know if we can do it this weekend. But yes, we need to plan it out. This weekend we got stuff to do, right?
Yeah. If it flies, it dies.
That's right. Blammo sandwich. All right, this one's from Jeremy. He says, good evening. I just listened to pod number 162 and wasn't really shocked when I heard Wright-Patterson Air Force Base come up in the conversation. A little known fact is the Blue Book was stationed here at Wright-Patterson. I live in lovely Dayton, Ohio, where Wright-Patterson is located, and I can tell you that there are many stories that come out of that base that are not your typical base stories. The reason I am emailing you guys is that there is a gentleman who has wrote 2 books about Wright-Patterson and worked on that base for 40 years. He has done many interviews in different UFO conferences. The gentleman's name is Raymond Szymanski. I have listened to his to other podcasts that he has been on, and he has a wealth of knowledge. His books would be good for you guys to expound upon in a pod and possibly have him on to interview. I know you guys haven't done much in the UFO lore side, but he would be a great guest. Thank you for your time as always, and as long as you guys are casting, I will be a lurking listener. Snacks! From Jeremy at L2 Engineering.
Sweet. Yeah, that's Szymanski, I think.
Szymanski.
Yeah.
Raymond Szymanski. Cool.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah. Still have a whole bunch of emails.
Yeah, well,
Yep. That's what this is for.
that's what this is all about.
Yeah. Okay, this is a comment on episode 94 from Donna. It says, hey, Snake Brothers, I am listening again to episode 94 on giants. Kyle came up with the fascinating idea that ancient people may have honored their dead by adding soil or stones to burial mounds as they passed by, thereby slowly increasing the size of the mound. This called to mind the Jewish tradition of placing stones atop grave markers in remembrance of deceased loved ones. I wonder if there is a connection. Thank you for your hard work. Your parents must be so proud of you. They deserve recognition for educating you so well. Love and hugs to you both from Donna.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. There's a bit. Is that what something you said, that they would just add stuff as
Sounds
they went
familiar.
by? Yeah.
I mean, that would be cool,
Yeah.
but I don't know,
It was a long time ago. 94.
That was a long time ago. But yeah, that's cool. That's kind of a cool idea.
Yep.
That should be, you should be able to determine that
Determine
with
it.
cores.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they do appear to have been, some of them, the mounds appear to have been built in series, right?
Yeah.
There are definite layers.
I seem to remember learning long time ago, maybe on one of our field trips in Georgia to the mounds when, back when we lived there, that they would like bury the dead and they would build these like wooden structures over top, and then they would add another layer and they'd bury more people and build more wooden structures over top of their bodies and then keep adding. And so they were basically cemetery hills.
Yeah, that's right. I think this is also from Donna. It says, hi, Snakes. While listening again to episode 143, the 3 of you were discussing the fact that the Buddha is portrayed with a big belly. I read about his life years ago, and the belief is that during his lifetime, a monk's spiritual journey consisted mostly of denying oneself all physical pleasure, including food. So much so that monks would sometimes starve themselves to death in an effort to reject the material world. But the Buddha learned that spiritual freedom does not come from denial of the material. It's all in the mind and what you do with it. So he resumed eating with gusto and developed a nice pudgy beer belly, as many of us have done during quarantine. Love and peace to you all.
That's right.
But yeah, I remember all the fat Buddha comments.
Yeah.
Poor Laura. She's like, I know, I'm over the fat Buddha thing. It's like whatever exercises he was doing clearly weren't physical ones. Right? They must have been spiritual exercises. That was hilarious. Okay, let's see. This is from Anne, called The Sisters of Sinai. Hi, Russ. I have been wanting to tell you about this book, but first I had to dig it out because I did not remember the correct title. That involved dragging a large suitcase from under a bed. Then I decided to read it again to make sure it was as I remembered from 8 years ago.
That's what took you so long.
Yeah. I think it fits with things you have talked about, how ancient texts were found in Ethiopia and Iran and on Egyptian walls, and the issues of translating them, which in this story are many. It starts out slow as a biography, but picks up in the second half, and then the biography makes sense. People might be interested in hearing about a palimpsest and a geniza, so maybe you could make a segment on your show someday when you are looking around for suggestions. Well, you probably get lots of those, so no problem if not. I found it is available as an ebook, so I can gift it to you from Amazon. You won't have to pry the funds away from Kyle the PayPal dragon. That's right, Kyle didn't let me buy anything with the PayPal money. I've never done that before, but it seems simple enough. I think they just send a link to your email and you can download it. I'm attaching photos of the book. All the very best of good wishes from Anne. And yeah, the Sisters of Sinai, how two lady adventurers discovered the hidden gospels. That's interesting. I'll have to check it out.
To drag a suitcase off of your bed.
Yeah, get money out of from the PayPal dragon. Okay, this one is called Thank You from Buster. Crispy also is the name at the end of the email. It says, Russ and Kyle, I just wanted to drop you guys a line and thank you. Life has been really sucking lately, and your podcast is the one escape I have left. It is honestly the one bright spot in my week right now. You guys put out an absolute top-notch quality show of every week, and I really look forward to every new episode. You never disappoint me. Topics are always fascinating, guests are always interesting, and your crazy bursts of laughter are a soothing balm for my soul. The brain expansion is fabulous, don't get me wrong, but the ability to plug into your world and check out of my stressful one for a few hours every week is, well, it is huge. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for so generously providing it to the world free of charge. I know I'm not the only one struggling right now, and I'm sure that there are many other devoted listeners that are just as appreciative as I am, yet cannot afford to show said appreciation at the moment. I can only assure you that once I have disposable income again, becoming a Snake Bros Patreon is my number one on my to-do list. You guys definitely deserve it. So stay awesome and never stop laughing. Sincerely, Crispy.
Oh, man. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. And yeah, I'm glad you enjoy it. We have so much fun doing this show. And the more emails we get from you and all of you guys, and we read them to each other, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah. Join the Discord.
Yeah. Lots of laughs in there too. We're all idiots in the Discord.
Yeah, there's a lot of people struggling out there right now. So You're not alone.
That's right. All right, this is from Matt, who was the winner of the special Butt Flapperton hat box. It's this picture of him, dude. It's great. He says, Dear Russ, Kyle, Laura, Jeff, Watchers, Snake Bros, and Snake Sisters. This morning, an exciting package slithered to my front door. My son was uninterested as he assumed it would be more of the books I order. But no, it was snakes, a cool hat, CDs, SnakeSkins, and stickers, etc. What really got my son interested was the stone artifact, as I explained how it could have been used by ancient people. So, thank you for the package. I loved it and have worn my hat everywhere today. I am willing to volunteer to win any future competitions as well. There he is. Here I am making your hat look good. That's what he says with that picture. I really enjoyed the show 154, Correspondence and Physics. A couple of points of discussion here. Quantum effects as they are seen at smaller and smaller scales are still not understood, but some of the alternative theories of everything are thought-provoking. Have you considered the limits that quantum mechanics places on knowledge may be linked to the idea that the universe is not infinitely divisible, as calculus assumes in its analysis? You discussed the limits of infinite series and how understanding limits allowed us to divide by numbers approaching zero. What if the universe solves this by becoming pixelated at the smallest scale? Hence, there is a limit to the smallest part of space-time in the universe. Also, have you heard or read about Eric Weinstein's geometric unity theory of everything? It is a non-mainstream alternative to modern theories of everything such as string theory, and it is guaranteed to provide 30% brain expansion. Regards. And snakes from Matt
Yeah, man.
Weinstein. Eric Weinstein. Yeah,
I listened to his, like, he's got a podcast called The Portal, and he did an episode which was like the first part of him beginning to lay out this theory of everything. And I maybe had about 30% brain shrinkage while listening to it. And then I watched the video because he's drawing on the chalkboard. And yeah, just maybe 2% I understood.
Yeah.
And a lot of it probably has to do with the lexicon. Yeah, I don't know all the terms, all the mathematical terms, and
Yeah.
there's so much stuff in there. I'm just like, okay, I'd be looking up words for days. But yeah, it was exciting. I remember hearing him talk about it, and that he was actually starting that podcast as a way to begin to lay it out.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, subscribe to the podcast. And then he didn't post any shows for months.
Oh.
So then I deleted it, and then eventually found out, oh, he is posting shows. So I went back, got it. There's some cool stuff on there, but even like he had a conversation with another physicist, and I was just like, wow.
I don't understand anything.
Yeah, and he tells you in the beginning, is like, we're not gonna dumb this conversation down. Just gonna. I mean, he didn't say it like that. He wasn't being condescending or anything.
Right.
He's like, this is how we actually discuss stuff to try to figure stuff out. And then I was like, oh. I'm dumb.
So is there like a layman's version?
I don't know. Couldn't understand it at all.
Okay.
Pretty much. I'd have to rack my brain just to kind of figure out what the basic idea was. He was kind of like laying out these mathematical principles and like geometry, stuff like this, and saying like, the standard model assumes that this space exists in this way, and this is how they all kind of but what if we turn it around and did it this way, and we actually end up with something that's extremely close to the way the universe operates.
Yeah.
But it's in a completely unexpected way. Right. But it was all math
Yeah.
using weird diagrams and stuff as well. I didn't understand it.
Okay.
So, but yeah, if it could be broken down into a more layman's explanation, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'd definitely like to hear it. So, Feynman was really good at that.
Yeah, he was. All right. Moving on. Next one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah. We don't understand it.
Don't get it.
We got a few more emails and then we're done. So this one's called "Where Do I Send You a Hat?" from Paul the UPS guy.
Oh.
He says, "Dear Snakes, my name is Paul. I am a huge fan. I work for UPS. I stumbled upon your podcast way back when. Worked my way through your entire catalog starting at episode 2. I am a fan of Grimerica.com, and I support that podcast, and that's where I stumbled upon yours. Throughout the day as a delivery driver for UPS, I find myself a captive audience to your awesome discussions. I sometimes find myself talking along with the two of you as if I were there in the Tangent Cube with you. The story you've told before and repeated by other listeners that have emailed the show about having discussions together as brothers struck a chord with me. My close friend and I used to do that very same thing. Often we would be awake till all hours of the morning contemplating the very mysteries I get on your podcast every week. Sadly, my good friend passed away suddenly at home, a suicide that unfortunately nobody close to him saw signs of, including myself. Listening to your podcast takes me back to these times, and I am so grateful to you for that. I was one of the winners of the 1-Up box from several weeks ago, the one with the hat and the music and the stickers and all sorts of Coolio's snake stuff. I have to be honest, I didn't like the hat. I am not one for wearing large profile hats. So, I set out to have a hat designed using your logo. Is that okay? There is an embroidering company that I deliver to that can make hats on demand. I would like to send you a sample of this hat if you're interested. Thank you so much for providing great content on your podcast. Warmest regards, Paul, the UPS guy.
Man, do whatever you want with a hat, buddy.
That's right.
For sure. Yeah, no problems there.
Yeah.
And that's funny that you didn't like. I did not like the hat.
Yeah, I have to be honest. Didn't like the hat. He didn't want a big trucker hat, I think is the idea.
Yeah.
He said large profile hat.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, sorry to hear about your loss there. God,
Yeah.
that's like, well, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Glad we can provide some
Yeah, bring you back to those
respite
times.
for that. Yeah.
That's right. It's always good to get with people and have these kind of conversations. And it's hilarious that you are telling, about how you've got it in the truck and you start shouting at us like we're in the truck or you're in the cube with us. Cause like we have a lot of people say that to us. Our friends included. They're like, yeah, bro, put your podcast on. And I forget that you guys aren't in the car with me because I'll be like, man, that's crap. Well, oh, shit. They're not back there. And yeah, you could send us a copy if you want to send us a version of the hat you're getting done. That would be cool. There is a 1UP box address, and you can hop in the Discord and get it. And I think I saw you do that. So
Yeah, and we also have the embroidery pattern.
yeah,
Like Laura paid for that. So I don't know if you would need that with your embroidery company, but we can probably get it
that's
from
true.
them.
That's true.
So awesome, man.
All right. This is called I Hope This Reaches the Snake Bros. From Alec. It says, if you read this, it means I somehow overcame my involuntary Luddites syndrome. Feel free to read all of this on the podcast. I might try again if you don't. My name is Alec, and the tradition seems to be to tell how the listener ended up with the snakes. So here it is. Berger and Powell's to Sitchin. To women. Till the hormones settled down a bit. Haha. To Hancock and the underworld, and someone bugged me long enough to listen to Joe Rogan and Randall Carlson, and then a terrible thing happened. My brain expanded 30% after listening to the Serpentine Sis and Bros podcast. Listener beware. Dun dun dun. As I'm incompetent with tech, I have failed to leave a rating on Apple Thingy and emailing Cosmo, so you two are my last resort to prove that I approve. I grew up in the Saguenay Lake St. John area, and first, Randall should learn that it's not Jean, like the Anglophone's female name, but rather the French version of John the Apostle. He could just translate it the same way he says St. Lawrence rather than St. Laurent. And just for fun, the name Quebec is meant like Quebec. K like K in Spanish, Quebec.
All right, man.
Okay.
Learned a lot of stuff about it.
Yeah, there's Saguenay, Lake St. Jean,
Lac
St.
Yeah,
John.
it's like LAC, right?
Yeah, Lac St. John is, I think, how he's saying to say it. Okay. With a grain of salt, as a kid, I heard a tale about a professional diver from France who dived in the Lac St. Jean, and the local legend says he came back up in a hurry and swore that he would never dive in the lake again, no matter what, because there were monsters deep down. Then I think about the strange mutation vegetation shows after an ET impact, and I'm thinking, holy smokes.
Oh.
Why not marine mutations as well? And then after too many rabbit holes, I wonder why they built so many dams on a single river.
Stop that thing from going down.
The Saginaw, which is fed by Lac St. Jean. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure everybody, snakes all the time. Yours truly, a snake in the cold. P.S. If you guys ever plan an expedition in the Lake St. Jean area, give me a shout and I will help you out with anything, almost.
Dude, that's freaking awesome. I love your idea.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Build a dam.
Stop it from taking these monsters everywhere else.
Man, that's crazy.
All right.
Lac St. John.
St. John.
Well, thank you, buddy. We will we'll tell Randall.
Yeah. I love that legend, too, of the diver. That's cool. Never diving in there again. Monsters.
They're 2 inches long.
Okay, last email. Final one of the night. This is called Listening to Episode number 122 from Peter. It says, Snakes, you are reading Serpent in the Sky, which I did read years ago, and about sound and resonance and how everything resonates with its own frequency. Have you ever heard of Royal Raymond Rife? He has built a machine in the 30s that freaking kills cancer and a shit ton of other maladies. It works by using a carrier wave to send the resonant frequency of the particular cancer cell, which destroys it. Of course, just like killing the electric car in the 70s and literally killing people who develop over Unity machines over the years, this guy's machine has been kept from us by the powers that be. So I hope you look into him and do a whole podcast on it. Rock on, from Peter.
Yeah, I think I watched videos on that. Pretty simple idea. They find out the resonant frequency of these cancer cells, and then they use a transducer, and they were doing this under the microscope in slides, and they were just, they turn on the transducer, and the other cells, which are totally different sizes, cancer cells are all relatively the same size. Yeah. They get this frequency going, and the cancer cells just start falling apart.
Right.
And the other cells are fine because it doesn't resonate them. It's just like the, singing in the wine glass. You got to hit the right note.
Right note. And
resonate the whole body enough, and then it shatters.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool stuff.
So why do you think they wouldn't use it? Is there other
I didn't realize that, it disappeared or anything. I thought it was still in development. But, I didn't look into the conspiracy side of it. It was just like...
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess...
Do you think there's other dangers? Could it have negative effects somehow?
Yeah, I guess if you tuned it to the wrong frequency.
Yeah, bones just.
But it's no. I don't think because you wouldn't turn up the gain so high that it.
Oh yeah.
That rigid structures like that would.
And I guess you could focus it, kind of target at the area.
Yeah, you target at the area and just. You might lose some other cells.
No,
but
no worse.
That's
than
not
chemo,
a big deal.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. But I didn't realize that, to me, when I was watching that video, I don't even remember how long ago this was, but I was just like, yeah, this seems kind of obvious. I don't know.
Seems kind of obvious. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it
does.
Okay.
It does seem obvious, but it's like one of those, now that we know about it.
There may be other problems with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not a medical person. We need the watcher.
That's true.
But yeah, break time.
Yeah, we're done.
The whole show?
That's all the emails I got.
All right, well, I got some stuff to say after this.
Okay. All right, we'll take a break.
All right. And we are back for the final segment of the final hour
Of the special bonusode.
Bonusode. Yeah, I just had we're done with the listener communication stuff.
Yep.
But the brewpastor brought up something that got my beers. Yeah, give me some beers, bro. Where they at?
Where the beers at? Kyle's been dreaming of those beers.
I've been buying full flavored, craft brew beers and stuff because of that.
And then grumbling that they're not good enough.
Yeah, I've never really been a big fan. I'm like a Coors Light guy.
Yeah.
Coors Light, woo!
Coors Light, woo!
And he sent those beers and just, once a week come in here and crack one open. I was like, man,
these are really good.
These are good.
I liked the ambers. The light ones that he made, but man, the dark ones were pretty good too.
Yeah.
They got me hammered. I can't do a dark beer in the show.
Well, it's a sipper, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've been out buying some beers, looking at trying different microbreweries around Texas and stuff. Pretty good stuff, I guess. So anyway, looking forward to the next shipment. Anyways, so yeah, he was saying something about the metaphor, right, for the universe or something like that in the email, and it got my brain going. But yeah, let's see what was he saying?
Yeah, he says the topological metaphor, which is, by my understanding, the idea that there is some sort of deeper reality to everything, but that the material world around us is symbolism or analogy that somehow expresses the deeper reality underlying it all. Is this the part you're talking
Yes.
about? Yeah. Then on your show, you've got Laird talking about the Dogon worldview that proclaims a deeper reality than just the material world that is around us, and how matter itself is somehow an expression or projection of something that is more real than what most of us would describe as reality.
Yeah. So the metaphor, it's like there's these weird, I like to look for symmetry in the universe. And, you know, there are some more complex type of symmetries. There are other symmetries that are like metaphors, right? And so what that made me think of was the idea of our senses, mainly sight and sound, and how we pick these up. And we've talked about this on the podcast before, but when you're looking, it's like what we're perceiving about the world around us with sight is, in a strange way, not really what that stuff is.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we have this idea that, oh, well, that thing's green and, you know, it's all these colors that it is, and that's what
Right.
it is.
Yeah.
But really, those are the frequencies of vibration that are rejected by
That's right.
that object. So we talked about this in terms of, you know, the colors. You look out in nature and you see all this green. Well, that frequency of light is being reflected off of that, because the organism is, and the materials that are making up the organism are all resonating at other frequencies in the spectrum, and thus when those frequencies of light hit it, they actually excite the materials in that object, and so their energy is absorbed.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones that don't match the frequency of resonance of those objects, and so they're bounced off.
Yeah.
So that's what we see. We see everything that the object is not, and it kind of tells us, you know, even in a
This is why maybe there's like this idea of illusion,
yeah,
kind of. Like
yeah,
in the myth, you know, that this is actually what we're seeing is kind of a reverse. of
yes,
what everything really is.
It's a reverse of what it really
Oh,
is,
you're
right?
The Paimon again. Everything isn't. It's reversed, or the mirror version, or the
Yeah, but in a way, you can say, well, it's all connected in this way. So the light is coming in, it's being absorbed by this thing, and that's creating the energy or adding to the energy of the thing. And so that the light that's being reflected, even though it is being reflected and not absorbed by it, it's telling us something about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we interpret that as these colors and stuff, and we put in our minds, we tend to put the colors on that thing, right? That thing is green. Well, no, you know, technically it's reflecting green.
Yeah.
It's not, it's
It
everything
isn't
else.
green. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's all these other parts of the spectrum
Yeah.
that are not green.
Yeah.
And then you have the source of light, right? That's different.
Yes.
The light coming from the sun is actually, it's telling you something different than the stuff that's being reflected
Yeah,
off, right?
yeah, that's right.
So you are actually having a little bit more of a direct experience,
Of the sun.
because when you look at the light coming off of it, you can say, okay, there are things in there resonating at those frequencies. Those are actually the energy involved in that system. Whereas when it's reflecting off something else, you can say, well, the energy involved in that system is like other stuff that I'm not seeing.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. And sound is the same way. You know, when you have say you have a trumpet, the sound is emanating from the trumpet. The whole thing is resonating. You know, the air running through it is resonating. So I guess a person playing the trumpet is part of
Should I
that.
bust out the trumpet? We get to the Snake Bros ska band.
Yeah. But of course, it is also that sound is also reflecting off all of the walls in the room and all of the materials and everything that's in the room.
Yeah.
And so it's a combination of the trumpet sound and the sounds up from that trumpet that are being both absorbed and then reflected by all of the rest of the materials in the room.
Yeah.
And so you're getting this whole collage of information about everything in the room,
Yes.
all with it. It's but again, the stuff that once again, the trumpet sound is like the more direct experience of the object and the thing. And then all of the other sounds from the room are sort of indirect because they're either absorbing certain frequencies and then reflecting them back because they're rejecting them.
Yep.
So it's like, it's just weird to me. That's what it made me think of. And it like that idea that we're walking around in this universe on this planet, absorbing all of this information and applying ideas to those things that we're receiving the information from. And it's like you were saying, it's almost like an illusion.
Yeah.
And that the idea of reality could be the same way. It's like the spiritual, the physical, the way these worlds interact, or, our idea of reality. I don't know. It's just,
so there are
like
certain things that are sources.
Yes. And you can have a more direct experience of those things.
Right.
But then there are other things that are not the sources. They are just interacting with the source.
And even sources are interacting with other sources, right? So like right now, I'm talking, so I'm the source of this sound, but it's including with bouncing off the walls and everything in the room, it's also bouncing off of you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, so you're also a source of sound. So you're a source, right? I'm a source of this particular kind of energy. Yeah. But when I'm emanating it, you are hearing it from the source, but also, like you said, coming off of all the stuff around us.
It's confusing.
Yes, it's confusing. And even your own self is doing stuff to
resonating
the sound.
to it. Yeah, that's why your voice, when you talk and then you record yourself and hear yourself talking, you're like,
that's not what I sound like.
Sounds totally different.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And so it's like that with light. There are sources of light, and then all the things that are interacting with light.
Right.
And even the sources of light, like science or astronomy has this idea of a black body, of something that is not interacting with light in that way. So like a black body radiation is where you are saying it's only a source. No light that's hitting it is being reflected.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So black body radiation would be like a star. That star is not reflecting any light coming in from other stars. It's all the radiation coming off that star. You can basically assume with this idea, this is an assumption, you can assume that all the light coming from that body is emanating from it rather than being reflected from anything else.
Huh.
Black body radiation.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think I'm explaining that correctly. I think so. Don't quote me on that. We don't have the watcher around to make sure that I'm not getting this wrong.
He's not keeping us on the straight and narrow
That's
here.
That's right.
Yep. I had something else too. Forgot what it was.
But it's cool because this idea, like you're saying, you can kind of turn this into it may be reflected in certain spiritual traditions.
Yeah.
The idea of sources of light or sources of this kind of energy or whatever. But then there's all this connectedness, right? Everything is interconnected.
That's right. And the other aspect to it as well is that our senses only experience, like our eyes are only experiencing basically one octave of frequency range.
That's right.
So at the lowest frequency range, whatever that frequency is, if you double the frequency, then that's just out of the highest frequency range of our vision. Like we're within one octave of frequency range in as far as visual perception. Obviously, we have all these telescopes that are picking up all these other different areas of the electromagnetic spectrum. But again, that's still such is this spectrum infinite? Where are the ends of the spectrum? I mean, how fast can you oscillate this medium?
Right.
We don't really know those things. I don't know what the lowest frequency of the electromagnetic spectrum is. Can it be infinitely slow? I don't know. Would it propagate at ridiculously low frequencies that would take billions of years, between peaks? So anyway, the point, just aside from that, just in our own experience of the universe, like it's such a minute fraction in the visual spectrum. And then audio, we have, I don't remember what it is, 13 octaves or something.
Yeah.
20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Do the math. I can't remember. Still not very much. And then there's a huge gap between the audible spectrum and the visual spectrum in terms of frequency range.
Yeah.
That we're just like mute, we're deaf to that. So what would it be like if you could plug into your brain full spectrum sensitivity?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you're going around the universe. Now you're seeing a lot more because just think of infrared light, right? The heat, which is the motion of the materials in any object, is that becomes a source, right?
Yeah.
It's emanating this energy, this light. And so it totally changes the perception. You wouldn't go and say, oh, that tree's green anymore. It would be a lot more than green leaves.
Yeah,
there
right.
would be all kinds of other stuff going on.
Yeah.
So I just think that's cool. It's very analogous to the idea of the spirit world, and the physical world, and the idea of what is reality. So I like that. To me, it's a sort of somewhat like a symmetry, that you can see that this is, I don't know if symmetry is the right word, but it's like, here's a little thing that's very analogous to our experience in general in the universe.
Yeah,
That's it.
It is. Well, it is interesting that we only experience like this. Well, we pay attention, I guess is what I should say, to this tiny fraction of all the information coming in. I mean, do we actually have ways of sensing the other stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And even with our ears, there's all kinds of spatial awareness involved in our audible perception.
Absolutely.
That people don't even realize, and you really have to begin to pay attention to these fine details of how sound changes. And when you work in a studio and you're working with dampening or you're working with effects and you mess around with EQs and all this kind of stuff, you kind of get an idea of like, oh, okay, I can do this thing with the frequency and it makes the sound do this, right? It does this weird something like that when you're moving it around.
Kind of
and then you're out in the world, you're out in the house and you're walking around and like there's a fan going and you move past a wall.
Yeah.
And you hear that. And you start to realize this is why they call it a phase, right?
Yeah.
Because it's changing the phase of the overlapping frequency of the overlapping vibrations of the air as you pass, because they're bouncing off the walls and sort of getting closer to each other and then further away.
Yep.
And it creates that. And so that is actually telling you where the walls are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, there's so much. So yeah, it's just like light where you can look over and you can see that wall and this wall and it's all the same. It's just our brains aren't tuning into that or it's not conceptualizing it that way.
Yeah.
Right. If we were to lose hearing, what I've been told, what I've heard, no pun intended. If you were to lose your hearing, that your spatial awareness is greatly diminished.
Yeah. Yeah. You can see, but that's like a tunnel.
It's tunnel vision.
Yeah. Your ears are telling you all the time about things that are going on all around
your shoulders running into walls and door jams and stuff because you don't realize how much your ears are telling you where these objects that are in your peripheral vision actually are.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is really interesting that this is how we maneuver through this world. But there's just, when you try to imagine full spectrum energy, what's all there? It's like we are not even close to knowing what we're actually living in right now.
Yeah. And we don't have the tools that can really give us that full experience.
Right.
Yeah.
They can take radio telescopes and they can look out at these high frequencies that we can't see with the naked eye. And basically what they do is they tune them down. They detune them down to the visual spectrum where they turn into colors.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So they basically, like, if with the radio telescopes, I don't know how many octaves they can go. In other words, how many times can you double that frequency?
Yeah.
I don't know how broad the spectrum is, but if you're trying to
And I
illustrate,
think they have to target it. Like, it may have a wide spectrum, but at the time it's doing the picture
recording?
taking or recording, it's in a specific range.
yeah,
Because
So
I
that-
remember,
that's what I'm saying. If they're looking out at, like, say 2 octaves of radio frequency,
yeah,
there's no way to translate that to our visual,
that's right.
because we only have 1 octave of visual perception.
That's right.
So they have to kind of look at, well, take the second octave and also slide that one down to the, to make them both 1 octave.
Crunch
and
them down half octave and then slam them together.
there you go.
Yeah.
So that the colors are less.
Yeah, there's less
Less distinct.
spread. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then of course down tune that all the way down to the visual spectrum,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can see it. Or, they do stuff like, listen to what the sun's yelling at us, and they're recording some ridiculous high frequency thing, and then they tune it down to the audible spectrum.
Yeah. That's right. Or they find some other way to represent it, graphs and stuff.
Yeah, there's all these ways to represent it visually, but of course, you can see how differently the brain deals with the high frequency of light versus the lower frequencies of sound.
Yeah.
They're very different, the way the brain interprets these things.
Yeah.
So you could take a song, within, or like a melody within 1 octave, and just bump it up to the visual spectrum, but it is not going to give you the same feeling or concepts when you're watching it. Right? So it's like we still, even though we can move that frequency of the radio telescopes down to a visual perspective, it's, if we actually had sensors where the brain had developed over time to interpret these frequencies, there's just no way to know how we would experience it.
Yeah.
I don't know. And maybe we are experiencing it, and then if it all shut off, we might be like, what is going on?
Why is it dark in here? Yeah.
I don't know. But that's always been a fascinating
remember when we
thought experiment for me.
When we were at GMA's lab at the university and we went into the Faraday cage. And it was kind of weird in there, right? You're standing in there, and of course, there's no way to know if it's like a placebo effect or something, but you're standing in there and you know that all radiation is being stopped by this cage you're in, and you're like, wow, it's kind of weird in here.
Yeah.
It's a little strange.
Well, it's like the magnet.
Yeah.
We brought that up a while back. Yeah. A couple episodes ago, I think.
Yeah.
Hold a magnet in one hand and a steel bar in the other hand. They're the same shape and
there's a sort
weight.
of an indescribable sensation of one of them is strange. Yeah.
Yep. And the other thing I went into a mastering studio, mastering for music, and it's this huge room, and the walls were all just perfectly dampened. They were like these deep walls, and they had been filled with this really soft insulation material and then covered with fabric all the way around the walls, and the ceiling was fabric and the floor was carpet. And it's, we're in the lobby, we're all hanging out talking. Yeah. It's like, let's go into the studio, check it out. And you open the door and you blah, 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 and walk in there and just, and you're like, whoa. So weird.
Yeah.
It was just like you can hear the people walking behind you and stuff, but it's like you could really feel how suddenly the walls, floor, and ceiling just vanished.
Yeah. Okay.
It was like they vanished from sight, even though you're looking at them. They were just gone. It was really cool.
They
experience.
disappear from your subtle perception.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what really gets, you're like, oh my God, this is what, and, I go in and out of that room just to feel that sensation. Like, okay, this is what's now. And then I walk into the lobby and I'm like, yeah, okay, so I can hear the ceiling in here.
Yeah.
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 It's pretty cool. We had the same You know, when we were in Vermont and it was snowing.
Yes.
You go outside and then it's just the perfect powder.
Yeah.
Just finished snowing.
Everything's covered in powder. And
Yeah.
It's totally dampening everything. And yeah.
Yep.
None of the trees are there.
That's right.
You're looking at them and you can't hear them. It's weird.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Vermont powder. It's good stuff.
It is good stuff.
And that was it. That's all I had.
Yeah, good thoughts. Great snake thoughts there.
Don't know what to do with it.
Isn't there there were some stories about like the most dampened room ever built. You know, it's a sound room or whatever, an audio room. And there were a couple of stories about how people were trying to see just how long they could just sit in there. And they would develop all these hallucinations, basically audible audio hallucinations sitting in there because it was so fucking quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, man, why are you dropping the F-bombs?
Take it easy on the F-bombs. Yeah, I know. It's the end of the show. I can do what I want. Can do what I want in the bonusode.
Bonusode. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't need to go through all the...
You guys know what to do.
Yeah, you guys know. Email, go to the website, give us reviews, pay it. Yeah.
Check out RandallCarlson.com.
That's right. RandallCarlson.com is there.
We
Thank
love
you guys so much for the support. Thanks to all the trolls in the Discord. Thanks to Ben from Uncharted X for showing up. Everybody check out his newest videos. They're fantastic. And good night, guys. We love you.
Always have.
Always will.
Get back to work, Adamo.
Damn it.